everybody, it's Bendy Hammers with Steel Target Paint Team and Bendy Hammers shooting page. I'm going to get into the progress with Project 2245. This has been the pistol that I built specifically for the Rimfire Challenge match a couple weeks ago, and it's going to make its transgression over into Steel Challenge. Now, about a year ago, I accomplished a GM classification with a pistol very similar to this, and then I sold it to somebody that wanted to shoot it, and I haven't shot a whole lot of Rimfire pistol since. So I rebuilt this one. It's a little bit the same and a little bit different. If you saw previous pictures of this particular pistol, it had the Seymour on top of it, and I have since gained a relationship with Athlon Optics, which is something that I'd really like to go over here with this particular pistol. So I have a lot of practice to do with this pistol. I was out with it just today. And if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it shoots very, very, very well. So let's get into exactly what puts it together. I built this one from scratch. Nearly every part was ordered individually, or like the lower I already had from a previous pistol, and everything else was pretty much what you might call hand-picked. So we'll get to the optic in a minute. As everybody likes, we'll show clear. So what this is a Ruger Mark IV 2245 light. Okay, so as I said, I already had the lower. So this is the lower. This side's probably a little bit more intriguing. It has more parts showing. Okay, but I already had this lower from a previous gun. This is just a 2245 light lower. I like the standard grips on it so far. Tandem Cross makes some finger groove grips. And as much as I wanted to like them, they simply just didn't fit me. And that was a little bit disappointing, but this is what I need to stay with for how I grip the pistol and how I shoot the pistol. So on the insides, let's start there. Ruger magazine, did a video on how to tune those. On the inside, we have the Volquartsen accurizing kit. Okay, so pretty much everything on the inside here, including the trigger, is Volquartsen. Okay, and it just makes for a very good trigger. It makes a very crisp trigger. And again, I tried very hard to use the Tandem Cross Victory trigger, which is a flat trigger. But in testing, I just seem to shoot better with this type of trigger on here. And I think what it has to do with is my particular grip on this pistol. The flat part makes it stick out just a little bit more rather than being rounded. So when I'm pulling the trigger, my finger is actually closer to the frame. And that seems to be making a difference for me. I'm guessing that's what the difference is. But with this trigger in here, I shoot it more accurately. So obviously that's what I've got to stick with. So there's a couple other things going on here. We have the thumb rest, is what that is. And then we have a thumb rest here in the back as well. My information is both of these are made by Billy Striplin, sold by Tandem Cross. And what that winds up doing is when I grip the pistol, so my right hand will come up here, my thumb rests right on that if you can see it. There's a good shot. So what that is, that's the safety, but it's got a very large thumb pad on it, and then we've got the thumb pad up front as well. So when I grip it, my thumb goes right on top of that. So it's a place to rest. It's a place to rest, not to push. It's one thing you gotta be careful of. So similarly, with the thumb rest up front, a lot of people think that, you know, this is used to, you know, manage recoil, and, you know, maybe it winds up doing that. But as soon as you start to have that mindset, you're going to start pushing on this thing, and then that's going to throw all kinds of things around. This is more of a reference point for me. So what I like to do is where this screw is that holds in that whole part, that's where I like the tip of my thumb to come up and just touch. So my grip just wraps around and just lays on that. It's just a reference point, okay? Now, obviously, as the pistol wants to recoil, and we are talking about a 22, so we're not talking about a lot of recoil, but as it likes to recoil, you know, there's another pad touching something, okay, that's bringing it back down to the air position. Now, something that I do is with this up here, I don't want to be pushing down on that, because now that's something to move the pistol around. A lot of people are against these, and for good reason. But I feel like you can use them correctly, and I like them because they're a very good reference point. But what I do on this particular pistol is when I wrap around here and I get this thumb up here where I want it, okay, there's my grip. Okay, other side. There's my grip. I'll show it to you again once we get everything together, but I just want to point out how great Billy Strickland does with these parts. But the way that I use this particular one is I squeeze using my index finger up underneath the trigger guard, and I almost try to like squeeze these two together. So my thumb and index finger are trying to come together almost. And all that does is hold it in place. And then like a centerfire pistol, what that does is, though there's not a lot of recoil, it gets it to return to the same spot. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it'll get it to return to the same spot every single time. Okay, so I like those on there. I've gone back and forth, taking them off and going back to a stock type setup. And that was because I was having issue myself with pushing on both of these and moving the gun around as I'm shooting. But I really like them there for reference point. And I like to support Billy Strickland as well. So the other thing that we're going to mention on the frame, the lower, is the Volquartsen extended mag release. Now, here's the thing, is that you don't need an extended mag release. An extended mag release is usually for a pistol where you're doing reloads, you know, maybe under time. And that extended mag release is going to make it easier for you to hit it and get faster reloads. However, if you look on the Volquartsen site, they will tell you that the way this particular mag release is made is that it positions the magazine tighter and higher up into the frame, which then helps with feeding. And I can tell you that that is not false advertising. That actually works. You can tell the difference when you put one of these on and you put a magazine in this frame that you've maybe been using before. You will tell that, one, there is no movement whatsoever. Okay, I've got the Tandem Cross bumper pads on there representing the Tandem Cross because they make great products. But you'll notice that this really fits up here good and tight, and there's no movement, and it does push it up slightly higher. Even though it's, you know, it's a couple millimeters, it also holds it directly in place. Okay, so that's the lower. So here's the part that's worth its weight in gold, as far as I'm concerned. This is the Volquartsen Competition Bolt. It comes with their Volquartsen extractor, and it comes with their Volquartsen spring assembly. And the kind of neat thing about this one, if you want to mess with it, is that it has, that's a regular screwdriver on the end, and you can actually take this apart and put different springs in there. Okay? This is a very, very nice piece of equipment right here. This is the heart of the gun right here. The gun just simply runs better with this in there. The part where the rim, so to speak, of the round, of a rimfire round, slides up in here. It's very smooth and it's a perfect shape. The rest of this, even without oil on it, they have a special coating that they put on these, and this thing, it feels like it has oil on it, and it doesn't. Okay, it's all, you know, the one piece with the button pull on the back. Magnificent part. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. And I remember for a long time looking at that and saying, wow, that's a lot. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. I'm not sponsored by Volquartsen or associated with him in any way, other than Scott is a very, very nice guy, and the Volquartsen teams out there are very good to interact with. So this was money out of my pocket, and it's worth every dime. So let's get into the upper. So there's a lot of things going on with this upper that I like a lot. Okay, one, I got this from Worthween Guns. He has a lot of takeoffs and stuff like that, but it's got that gold barrel inside. Okay, you can even see it here. And I just kind of thought that kind of looked like a little bit of touch of class, you know, just the way that it was done. I mean, when you start using, you know, gold parts and stuff like that, it can easily go, you know, the gangster gun type thing. But this just looked like class to me. So I really liked this upper. I couldn't afford to go to the Volquartsen LLV. If you have the ability to do that, wow. You know, that's what I shot before, was actually a Black Mamba. And it comes basically with this same lower, built the way that it is with the LLV upper and obviously the competition bolt. But this one's working. This one's working. Okay, so we've got the bolt, or we've got the upper here and the barrel. So on the end, we have Mr. Steve Foster's logo. So this is called the Falcon compensator. Steve Foster designed it himself. It's produced by Weiland USA. That's where you can buy them from. Steve designed it. Patrick over there makes them. So here's the thing about this one. So I like to support Tandem Cross, but I also like to support my team captain, of course. So I have both the Game Changer from Tandem Cross, which works very, very well, and it has its advantages. This one, for this particular build, not only is it like I said in a previous video, this thing feels like it's actually compensating. I've always been in that circle of the conversation where it's like, you know, none of the 22 compensators are really making that much of a difference, and there's people that argue the other way to the point that they've made videos and, you know, shown the little bit that, you know, a comp can make. This one, I can tell the difference. I don't know the engineering that went into it. Okay, we're going to give Steve credit for that. For whatever smart guy engineering went into that. Or he just got lucky. Don't tell him I said that. But it works. Either way, the gosh darn thing works. And it's light. For this particular build, that was very nice. I haven't weighed them. But it is significantly lighter than the Game Changer. Now, I think the Game Changer was purposely built with weight in mind, to put some weight on the end of the muzzle to also help manage recoil. This particular one, I like the way it's weighted because of the way that the gun overall bounces in my hand. Love it. Love it. And it's cool when like the sun's behind you and when you're behind it shooting and you can see, you know, the gas coming out the top and the sides all at the same time. You know, you get that little tri-burst. It's pretty cool. I like it. And it works. It works. Go over to Wyland USA to find those. So the next thing that I have, and this was the first time that I had experience with this, I've used previous types of mounting. This time I really wanted to support Tandem Cross as much as I possibly could on this gun. This is their shadow mount. Now, the thing about this is you got all this that's sticking out the front. Now, what that is that this shadow mount is designed to fit several different optics, all the major optics. I don't have the spec sheet in front of me, but underneath this dot, you can see all the different drill patterns. And so this one's the Athlon, which has the same footprint bolt pattern underneath as I believe it's a Venom. And then a Razor fits on here. I had an SRO on here, trying that out. A full-size Seymour fit on here. That was the original pictures that I had of it. It's nice because the biggest thing that it does as a product line from Tandem Cross, it fits all the different dots. So, I mean, that's just great. It can also be turned around. So this dot could actually be mounted way up front. Okay, it's true with all the other dots that you could mount to it. It actually turns around. So the fatter part at the back would be at the front and the skinnier part would be at the back. And it keeps the dot low to the bore. Okay, so like my Seymour dot was way up here where my finger was. So there was a pretty large offset. Okay. And then of course, the Axon TRS-1. I've done, I think at least 2 reviews on this thing. I like it on my carry optic gun. I love it on my PCC. That thing is not coming off my PCC. Love it. It's got a 3 MOA dot, okay, which when they first told me that, I was like, 3 MOA dot. We'll give it a try, but usually the standard is 6 is the minimum, which I would still hold to that idea. However, this particular dot works very well. It's bright. I've used this now in full sun. I've used it in full sun behind me, in front of me, directly above me. And the dot doesn't wash out. And I have to say again, 2 things. One, I put this on here today and went and zeroed it. The zeroing process was obviously easy. You just have your up and down on the side and your right and left over here. But I have to say, one of the things that I just really think is cool about this dot is I have really grown accustomed now to that function where when you lay it down and it is motionless for 5 minutes, it shuts the dot off. But then when you pick it up, the dot's back on. And that's kind of cool because, you know, like in a match, you know, that's something, one less thing that you're worrying about, you know, remembering to turn the dot off when you put it in. And then, you know, when you walk away from the particular stage you're shooting, it's like, oh man, did I remember to turn the dot off? Because you do that with one of the Seymours that I've done before, and you can wind up having to change a battery out by the end of the day, and you come up to a stage and, oh, I've got a very faded dot. So that is a function that I really appreciate. On their medium setting, again, they're talking about 50,000 hours for this. So I like just leaving it on. You can turn it off by turning it all the way down, turn it all the way off. But this thing is just made well. It's hard to tell in the pictures, but it's just one of those things, and I said it before, you know, when you put it in your hand, you can just feel the quality of it. Okay, so that's all the parts. Let's throw her together and get a big picture here. Okay, still clear. So that's the whole picture. Okay, and again, the way I grip it from this side, it's my universal cover position. I actually like, if you can tell, right underneath here, there's a little protrusion. You know, it comes down and then slants in. That's where I like to put my finger for not necessarily universal cover, but when you're, you know, low ready, your finger has to be out of the trigger guard. So I like to put it right there. It just fits perfect. And then as I come up, it just comes right in there in the spot. Hear the timer beep, right up into that spot. It goes in there real nice. And that might be one of the other differences between this trigger and the Tandem Cross trigger, is that my finger just may happen to hit this one better coming up from low ready, because my first shot is better. There's a grip from the front. And then again, using the Strickland thumb rests here. So, and like I said, I like to have this, and it kind of fits right there in that little spot right here in my thumb, where I know I'm right if I'm touching where this screw is. So it might look like I'm clamping down on that, but I'm actually not. It's just, there's just a minute amount of, you know, tweezing going on between these two fingers, kind of pushing together, just very lightly, just enough to hold that gun, basically. And that's the grip I'm using. So we're going to spend some time with this. I wish we were in a position where I could, you know, run up to, you know, the local gun store or even Walmart or whatever and grab a couple thousand rounds and head out to the range, but we're just not in that era right now. So I think I'm going to find a way to work some dry fire movement with this. I've got all the mags tuned, running. Got a video on that, how to open up the feed lips and manipulate them so that you won't get your stovepipe feeds. I'm still getting those with some types of ammo, but I've got some ammo that this thing just runs near 100%. So obviously that's what we're going to use. So Project 2245, as I called it at some point. I really want to thank everybody for watching these videos. I've got a lot of personal feedback from all over the place. People that I work with, people that I'm friends with, people that I know on Facebook, people that I shoot with. I'm getting a lot of verbal feedback. Everything from, you know, they like what they're seeing, you know, it's fun stuff, it's fun to watch, to, you know, hey, cover up the pool table. You know, I was a little bit fond of the tactical pool table, but, you know, we do what we need to do. And then the lighting, I've been messing with the lighting. I think this is getting closer to working. It's not completely there yet, but we'll get there. There's just so much information that I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time once I decided to do this to, you know, get everything perfect. So we're going to move along. If you didn't notice, one of the things that happened yesterday was I started a podcast. That was also something that was suggested to me. I'm also looking into the longer videos, the introduction videos, you know, like the Larry Drake video and Justin Morris video. I'm looking at being able to pull that audio and then produce it to my my podcast episodes, so to speak. I'm not an electrical nerd. Matter of fact, most of those apps and things like that aggravate and frustrate me. But we're figuring it out. It's working. I did the first podcast yesterday as an introductory mission statement. It's a little long. It's got a lot of information in it. I really lay the groundwork for what I'm thinking, what the group is thinking. Right now, the group is pretty much made up of myself, Larry Drake, Justin Morris, Tyson Kilby, and we're going to be, and I'm going to include Jenna Larson in that, and then we're going to be including some other people, and I think we're gonna go ahead and wait to announce who those people are going to be, and we'll just let it flow with a video that comes out. There's going to be some very good people coming into this group. Tyson and I also talked about him being, you know, us both doing the podcast together as like a host and co-host type thing, you know, two people's, just simply because it, you know, when we did that video, it just felt like, you know, even here in the room, it felt like it was going well. And then to watch it, we just have that right, I don't know, energy or whatever it is, where, we're alike enough, but we're different enough that both of those attributes come out, our similarities come out, and then our differences, I think, appeal and relate to, you know, multiple sides of things. Maybe not even good and bad, but just multiple angles to the same thing. And that was a lot of fun. We're going to do that again, maybe as soon as tomorrow. We're discussing. So there's going to be more videos to come. I really love the feedback. I mean, I've gotten feedback from people that I have such a high respect for. I mean, people that I work with have been the ones that have floored me the most. You know, the people that I work with, some people that I have a very high respect for. I had an email from Deputy Castillo, who I have an immense amount of respect for, and he was kind of giving me some props and asking some questions, and I mean that just kind of floored me, because that's one of those guys that I just do. I have a lot of respect for, and I mean, honestly, you know, I have a lot of respect for everybody that I work with, but for people to come up to me and say, "Hey, I've been watching your videos," like, really, man? That's I mean, that really goes deep, and so if that's what you're doing, continue to do it. If you have suggestions, I've had people come up to me with all kinds of suggestions, you know, from the lighting to, you know, offering, you know, to use equipment. So it's very humbling for me. It's a very, very, very good experience, and it kind of lets me know that maybe I'm on the right track with some things. And this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. I really want to do some great things. There's some great things in my mind. So I want to keep it coming. Again, Project 2245. Last thing I want to say about these guns. If you're local to me and you have some type of interest in anything that I'm attached to, and you want to get a closer look at it, or you want to shoot it, you know, if you're just on Facebook with me and you're local and you're like, hey, that rifle or that pistol, you know, kind of interests me. Maybe I'm looking at going that route. Okay, if you're not a member at Mill Creek, I can bring you in as a guest. And I have no problem putting this in somebody else's hands and letting them run rounds through it. Mi casa, su casa. My stuff is your stuff. Yes, I know that's not what that means, but that's what I mean. Anybody, hey, I want to come out and shoot that. You know, this, my PCC, my rimfire rifle, my carry optic gun. You know, these are all my competition guns, and I'm not the guy that is like, oh, no, these things are babies and fragile. These things need gosh done rounds run through them. So if you want to come out and run 500 rounds through this for me and get it, you know, further into its life where it really excels, by all means, message me, okay? Message me. Come out to, if you want to come out and shoot a steel challenge match and you don't have a gun to shoot, get with me. This is yours. If I'm not shooting it, you're shooting it. Seriously, get with me. Come out, shoot a steel challenge match. Come out, practice with me. I'm open. All right, guys. Thank you very, very, very much.